Well, this was a good show.
It was.
That
I'm
was
excited.
a humdinger.
Yeah, I'm energized by it. We talk about good energy a lot in the
That's right.
show.
It was
awesome.
fun. It was good to. We hadn't met. We had Chris Rossman on from Fiberglass and Rodrigo, and I hadn't met
A
Chris.
virtual guest today.
Yeah, he was joining us all the way from Brazil, but I hadn't met him in person. So he had asked us to do a video, this was kind of a little bit of what this episode was about, was kind of releasing the video. About their field service technicians all around the world, but then also from their perspective, getting to know what is it like, what's the importance of field service around the world, what's their perception, what's their take on servicing the customer.
And we're talking, I guess overall topic is fiberglass field services.
Yeah.
But more specifically, like you mentioned, we're premiering a video that the film team made for them in the last few years. So I think it's kind of a unique episode. I joke a couple of times in it that it's director's cut. We're sort of giving you a little bit of background, and then we're going to premiere it at the end. So I'm excited.
And I got to say, it felt kind of good. It felt like we don't really get like a lot of FaceTime. We're usually like, here's your video, and we move on. So it was nice to kind of just like have somebody sit with us and be like, we loved it.
Yeah,
so,
and like, what is it?
Selfishly, that felt kind of good. I don't know.
Right, to hear what it meant to their team,
Yeah.
what it means going forward, what they're going to be doing with their business. So it's really cool.
Good to see something that you make and it really does it for somebody. So.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to talk to our guests, and if you're watching this, stick around to the end. We're going to premiere the full video at the end of the episode, so we're excited to show it to you.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah. Well, so we're here now. We have Chris Rossman and Rodrigo Oliveira here on the phone. Thank y'all both so much for joining the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good to see you. And Rodrigo, you're coming all the way from Brazil, is that correct?
Yes, you're right. I'm in Brazil for right now, and it's a sunny and good day here.
Beautiful. So Rodrigo, tell everybody just a little bit, what is it that you do at NOV? Real quick, we'll just do some quick introductions with you and Chris, but you go first. What do you do at NOV?
So I'm a field sales support engineer, and I usually take care of the contracts we have on the field. So I go to the shipyards to follow the modules construction, and I follow our product installation, basically our bond strength product, and sometimes I also act on the oil and gas market with our star product.
Great. Chris?
Excellent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm our vice president of service sales and field engineering. So wherever we have teams such as Brazil, the UAE, throughout the Middle East, South America. So I get the privilege of working with those teams across all international borders for fiberglass systems. So I get to spend plenty of time with guys like Rodrigo throughout the day.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and so you mentioned all those locations, and I'm a little bit familiar, not maybe as familiar as Paul, but Paul and Wayhan made a video, was about last year or last few years, we're working on it, highlighting a lot of those different locations around the world and what it takes to be part of field services. And so I wanted to start off, and again, Paul has some more experience where he was filming it, but could y'all talk a little bit about the motivation behind making a video to showcase field service, and what was the goal?
Yeah, so I thought it was an important element in such a critical piece of the NOV business, not just for fiberglass systems, but holistically as an organization. And one of the standouts behind that is just the amount of those different countries, regions that we operate. There's so much diversity in there, and I wanted to kind of get that theme out to the rest of not only the NOV audience, but our customers and everybody that gets the privilege to participate and see these kinds of shows.
Right.
So many different cultures and customs, and doing business throughout the world, requires different elements. And seeing how all these pieces come together, I thought it was important to highlight all these great things that our technicians do across the world.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And I know, I think a lot of times on the show we talk about all the process of leading up to a sale, kind of what people get when they get our technology. But I want to ask, how critical is what comes after sales, the field support that comes after that once that relationship begins?
Yeah. So the way that I look at it is there's so many important elements inside of fiberglass systems that create our products. And we have so many unique products for so many different markets. So we operate not just in oil and gas, but also marine offshore, fuel handling, water and environmental flow solutions, chemical and industrial markets. Again, the theme of diversity is there's so much diversity inside of our products and the type of customers that we have a chance to be able to interact with. So I think that that's a really critical element in how we approach our markets. So the culmination of all those different people involved, I look at it like it's our responsibility from a field service standpoint to execute flawlessly.
Yeah.
Quality, operations, manufacturing, engineering, like we're surrounded by all these great people. At the end of the day, we have to execute to make sure that our products are held with the highest, level of regard.
Yeah, that made me think of something that you had said, Rodrigo, and I wanted to maybe just get you to talk about this a little bit. When we were asking the questions, when we were interviewing you in the video, you had said something that, you are the representation of the product. Your work, it doesn't matter how good the product is, but if your work, you're the last person, the last NOV person to touch that piece of equipment before the customer uses it. And so if you don't do your job correctly and you don't do it, all the way and you don't do it perfectly, then a perfect product could fail because whether it's installed incorrectly. Could you talk a little bit about your experience and your mindset when it comes to you being the representation of the product to the customer?
Yes. So what I was saying to Chris before is that when the field testing takes place after sales, most of the time, the customer is pursuing a reliable and fast installation. Our products power the production, allowing the customer to improve their profitability, reliability, and maintenance levels. A clean and well-done installation supported by our field sales team closes the cycle that started with the project conception. So field sales team needs to be aware of all steps taken before they come into the project to supply an assertive product performance. In summary, when we go to the field, we have to close the cycle that started on the project and the project conception.
Right.
When we go to the field, we have to ensure that the customer will receive a very good installation over the wonderful product we sell.
Yeah.
So if we fail doing it, we're gonna sink the whole concept of our product and the whole concept of our project or engineering.
Right.
So the field service is a very important part of the process.
There's so much engineering and time and business deals that have been made before this, before you come in, and you better not screw it up. I'm just kidding, but it was that was striking for me. I think the importance of your role in that whole chain of getting a product to a customer to use.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and I think in the video, which I should have said, we keep mentioning the video. We will be showing it.
Yes.
If you're watching this and you're like, what are they talking about? Have no fear. Hang on till the end. We're going to premiere the video in full. But something I really liked about it is I was watching the video and I was like, this feels like an international spy movie or like an action movie. Maybe not spy, but like an action movie. And we were talking before about response time. So I wanted to ask, what about that response time, about it being so critical and fast-paced and needing to be there for the customer? How is that important when it comes to field services?
Yeah, it's such a critical element, and that was one of the important things to actually be able to highlight in the video. So it does feel that way, and you get a chance to walk in the boots or shoes of our technicians for a day, which is something to me that's incredible. That bird's eye view of what a day is like for them. Response time for our customers, so it kind of works in two ways. There's obviously the product release aspect of it, so customers are focusing their energy on when is that product going to actually be delivered. But then in addition to the delivery of the product, there's also installation schedules that are going along with that as well. Those installation schedules not only are driven by product delivery, but you have to think amount of people that are on site for, say, an FPSO, whether it's welders or different contractors. It all has to be done in tandem.
Oh my gosh, there were so many people out on the shipyard.
Really?
There were just like people going everywhere.
Yeah.
It was crazy. That was my first shipyard experience. I don't know how you work in an environment like that. There's just people talking across each other, people, things going all over, cranes, and yeah, it was wild.
It is. It's an experience, and this team does a great job of being able to manage that because, along with the responsibilities of fiberglass systems, we're still interfacing with all of these other contractors and helping to support the client too. So, from a global service standpoint, it's not only important of where you are, but also where you're not. And so we have these teams strategically located all over the world, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that we have an extension of our field service team as well, which is our global service network. So our global service network really sets fiberglass systems apart from virtually anybody else. So wherever there's an opportunity for us to be able to provide service, we work specifically with distributors, customers, clients as well, and put them in contact with people that are trained and certified by fiberglass systems. And this carries a lot of value because as you look at that map, you want to make sure that you can cover the entire thing. And as we're going through that, these global service partners that work with us on a regular basis are in lockstep with what our fiberglass systems technicians are able to do. It allows us to be experimental with emerging markets too. So before you decide you want to build an enormous building and put in a bunch of infrastructure, test the market, and we're able to casually introduce some product, but then support that from a service standpoint as well. And I think that's a huge element of what we do. It's very, very interesting.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And Rodrigo, I know you're in the video too, a bit of a star. So I know you're out there. What does response time mean for you in your everyday?
So as Paul said, the shipyard is always crowded. So beyond the response time, the field sales needs to be proactive and to review the modifications or increments in the customer scope to guarantee the product's performance. It is expected that the field sales team raise these modifications in advance to avoid any delay in the project schedule. It's too much disciplines on going at the same time, too much people working at the same time,
Right.
a lot of different tasks going on. So we have to be assertive. We have to go in advance and try to preview the future, to check what's going on in the next step.
Yeah.
My brain also, I hear crowded space, shipyard, I think all of that, and my brain immediately thinks safety. So where does safety come in? What role does that play?
Yeah, so safety's paramount at the end of the day. And, for us, it is not one of those scenarios that's ever taken lightly.
Right.
And I think the most interesting thing, because when you look at, and in the video you're going to see this, and this is only a portion of where we operate and the products of what we do. So we have teams, for example, in Asia, in the UK, that, on this iteration of the video are not previewed. But like any good series, there's always season 2 is always a possibility, right? So
Unpack your bags.
Yeah. So
Everybody this time.
everybody get ready for that. But inherently with the safety aspect of these things, I want to focus on not only the visible stuff, of course, the PPE and the hard hats and everything that we're supposed to do, procedures and processes, interfacing with engineering, interfacing with quality. These are all connected from a safety standpoint, and we obviously always want to set ourselves above whatever the baseline is for those safety requirements. It's critical, and we interface obviously with all of the NOV HSE safety departments on a regular basis, other NOV groups, and we make sure that we're collaborating on how we can execute on these projects all together. Because again, it's not always just us that's out there. So we have to make sure that the people that we're shoulder to shoulder with every day are operating at the same level of safety that we are.
Without a doubt. Rodrigo, what about you? What's your take on safety?
So for us, safety is something that we can leave behind in any moment. So NOV cares about our employees. Safety, and not only this, about the safety of the people surrounding us. So the customer also have their own safety requirements, and we work always to fit it into their safety. So we always exceeding the requirements. We're always trying to cover all aspects, because at the end of the day, not only us, everybody needs to come back home safe.
Yeah.
That's key. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so now, we're going to show the video here in a minute, but before we do, kind of the director's cut, what's the biggest takeaway from making this video and being able to highlight the team?
So the biggest takeaway, and we get to see this in one way or another, Rodrigo, myself, and how we interface with all these different groups across the world. So it's not unusual for a project to start in Brazil, make a stop in China, and then have work done that's performed there. The most impressive thing to me, and I'm always taken back every time I see it, is literally the orchestra that takes place and the choreography to execute on these projects as they pinpoint different spots across the globe. It was amazing on every facet. So it's not just the marine and offshore side of the business, but all those different groups that I mentioned. So we're doing this, everywhere pretty much at all times. And when you really think about that, from an NOV standpoint, we got a 24-hour day, right? And inside of that 24-hour day, we're doing something incredible somewhere in the world. Right. And I love that. I love that fact of it. So when guys like Rodrigo are wrapping their day up, somebody in Singapore might be starting their day,
right,
or wherever. And I think that's you get a little dose of that during the video, and it's impressive all the way around to be able to see that and how we all are able to operate and work well with each other.
Yeah, without a doubt. Paul, I want to put you on the spot. Yeah, what was your biggest takeaway?
Well, just to know that it's a drop in the bucket, like what you just said, like the video is just like one little sample of like all the other field service technicians that are out there working all the time and doing just as good a work for fiberglass. So I know that, I think that's my big takeaway, is that it was a great, I love new experiences. I love the way that Chris kind of presented the problem to me, or the task to me. He kind of gave me a reference, like I want it to look like this movie. So it had like this tactical type of strategic feel to it. And so that was fun for us to think about how to visually show your concept that was in your head about real people. We're not talking about fake things. We're showing the real work of real NOV people. But just to realize, like, gosh, these 5 places we went, it's just like that's just a small slice of the pie of like everything that's going on around the world.
Yeah. And I think from a viewer standpoint, where I didn't know about the project beforehand, I wasn't on any of the inspiration conversations that happened. I've pretty much just seen it, and then here today having this conversation. But that energy you're talking about, that anywhere in the world something awesome is happening at any point, you feel that, I think, when you're watching it. So it's really exciting. And
as you take away scenes from the movie, and you all did an incredible job on constructing this. It's the vision that we were talking about couldn't have possibly played out better. In fact, it was better than I had originally projected it, which I'm not surprised of. But no, it's been absolutely incredible to be able to showcase the talents of these teams. And when you're watching it, this is how they operate and how they feel. So things go sideways, and you need things corrected in a timely, efficient, fast, and safe manner. So I'm proud to be surrounded by the team that I have, because that is exactly what they do every single day, all over the planet.
Yeah, there were multiple times where we had to like, oh, this isn't going to plan, we got to pivot. And so they were always ready to do it and take care of their team in the process.
I would say that it's very magical when you, after the end of the day, after finish the job, you can see how the pieces match. Even they manufacturing it in China, Brazil, or Singapore, or Korea, doesn't matter. When it comes together, because at the end of the day, it all comes together. It's everything part of another job. So when it comes together, it matches. It's like you feel like you're working beside the person in another side of the world.
Wow.
So it's magical.
See,
Chills.
that's why he's on the video with lines like that.
That's awesome.
Perfect, Rodrigo.
That's great.
That's amazing.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I say I don't think we need to tease it any longer. I think we don't got to hold the audience. So thank you both so much for
guys,
coming in and giving a little bit, like I said, the director's cut for our watchers at home. And I'd say without further ado.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We hope everybody enjoys it as much as we did.
Thanks, guys. All right.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
Let's watch it.
Here it is.
أنا بعتبر إن الفيلد سيرفيس هي خط الدفاع الأول لأي شركة، بالذات شركة زي NOV، لأن العميل دايماً بيشوف البرودكت من خلالي أنا.
Todo o restante vem primeiro. Produção, a engenharia, vendas. E nós somos a última defesa.
Get in a truck and drive cross country or fly into Saudi Arabia or Brazil, and see an area that most people won't see. Because we are on the front line.
Our field service technicians report certainly to the field, to job sites where our clients are installing our product or our product is in use and in need of update, repair, modification. Being local to our job sites often is very key. Local knowledge of the area, the terrain, the soils that our structures may be buried in is very helpful.
É muito importante que a gente tenha alguém local, bem próximo do cliente, e o cliente pode ter acesso fácil para tirar dúvidas, para poder resolver problemas que sejam emergentes ou urgentes. Caso você não siga os procedimentos como devem ser feitos, você pode vir a ter uma falha, pode ocorrer um problema com o produto. E na maioria das vezes, quando isso ocorre, o cliente ele pensa que o problema está no produto e não na instalação. Então, esse é o ponto mais importante durante uma instalação.
We make fiberglass tanks that go underground to hold diesel fuel, heating fuel, gas for your car. We all lead together. We all help each other. If I need help with something, it's just not me doing it. Everyone will join in to help each other. We put pride into what we do, and we care about what their product is to keep them on going. We're all out here together to get the job done, so the customer's satisfied and in the time frame we have.
فاللي بيفرق برودكت عن برودكت الجودة بتاعة تركيبه والناس اللي موجودة بتمثل الشركة قدام العميل نفسه. فأنا أي حاجة أنا أو التيم بتاعي بنعملها بتأثر مباشر على العميل، بتخليه هل عايز يكمل أو عايز يشوف برودكت تاني.
The most challenging is repairs as opposed to a new installation, because you don't know what's in the line. You don't know until you get out there. It's always up in the air on what's going to happen and how the job's going to go. So when I go out and I train guys, I want to train them like if I was doing the job myself, to where when I leave, I know it's good, and I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Quando eu termino meu trabalho, eu quero que o cliente tenha confiança no trabalho que foi feito, porque isso abre portas para novos negócios, para novas instalações.
أعتبر طبيعة شغلنا زي طبيب الطوارئ بالظبط.
When something goes down, when something doesn't fit, when something's not right, we need to be able to be on site as quickly as possible and fix that situation.
احنا ما عندناش وقت معين بنشتغل فيه. emergency لازم اروح له على طول.
It's absolutely the mission.
And then you just get into your routine and kick its butt and go on down the road.
service is following through on a promise, delivering to the client at the end of the day the product that they expect and need installed in the field in a proper manner that's going to serve for, for decades.
We got jobs all over the world. You never know where you're going to be next month.